Hey y'all, this is Babs Rolls Ivy, and you're listening to 103.5 FM WNHH.
Welcome to the Talk Sip. I'm your host, Elisa Bowens Mercado. It's another fabulous Thursday, and we are coming to you live. I'm so excited today. You know, folks, if you listen to my show, that I am a huge fan of live music and artists and industry and just anything that has to do with being creative. And so you are in for a complete treat. I have him for the entire hour because we are doing an on-air release. We are one of the first to get it here at the Talk Sip. So I want to welcome back my friend and my co-artist. You're not co-host today. You're a co-artist today on the Talk Sip. So I'm so happy to have you back. But we have Robert Roach.
T-sound. There you go.
Yes. I remember. Robert Roach from Bond Villain. And welcome to the Talk Sip again.
Hey, how's it going?
It's awesome. I see since the last time you were here, you're no stranger to the Talk Sip because you've been here before. And we were talking about your creations and your collaborations and where you started. So the folks that are tuning in for the first time that have not had the pleasure of hearing your story, we're going to go... We're going to get a little background from you again, but since I've seen you, we are literally going to have an on-air release.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Things are going really fast and really well right now. Really excited.
Yeah. Tell us what you've been doing since the last time you were here at the Talk Sip.
Well, since I saw y'all last, we released a single called Blackguard that came out with a lyric video.
I remember that.
It's been just absolutely incredible. We got close to 8,000 views in the first 24 hours on that.
That's what you want.
Yeah, it was great. And
that's what you want.
It was a completely different kind of sound than we had ever released before. And, of course, when you do that, some people are going to come out and say, like, what happened?
What happened?
But
it's not you. That's who you... I know.
But a lot of people came to me and started messaging me, leaving comments on YouTube and on SoundCloud and just saying, this is amazing. I'm loving this. I'm cranking this at the gym, when I'm driving, when I'm partying with my friends. And like that, nothing could be better for me than this getting to read comments like that. So
absolutely.
That's been huge. And We've also been filming a music video that we're hopefully going to be releasing in July at the end of the month. And that's for a new song. It's called Die For You.
Yes.
And it is incredible. We have a guest drummer on there. She is, I'm not going to renounce her yet, but she has a massive, massive YouTube following, millions of views on her YouTube videos. And she is absolutely killing it right now. And she wanted to collaborate and create this song together. It's amazing. The video is gorgeous.
I can imagine.
I'm actually heading right out from here to go film a little bit more of that. That's
film
why
a little bit more. Oh my
gosh!
Yeah, that's great. That's I mean, but and chick drummers, I love it.
She is just like a total dynamo.
That's amazing.
I'm really excited to do the full announcement soon. So I'll keep you posted.
Well, you have to come back because we're hoping to be involved in that event with you in July. So we're working some things out.
Perfect.
But that's great. You know, and as an artist, like you said earlier, you're gonna have some folks that are like, you know, there's a sound, it's new, but that's a part of your creative juices that you are anxious and talented enough that you can go for a different sound.
Yeah.
And just be that much more creative. So
yeah, exactly. And I don't like to be tied, you know, to any specific sound. I mean, if we're going to something, we're going in a direction that feels really good, then that's where we want to go. And so I'd never want to just box myself in and be like, well, you know, I'm this kind of music, so I can't make something like that.
Right.
Of course, you know, you got to start to lock it in at some point, and I think we're starting to get there. So
I know you're starting. Well, I know you're heading there because the first time that you were on the show, I told you, I said, you are that artist that can literally, for shows, for TV dramas, for, premieres, for motion pictures, that's that sound.
Exactly.
That folks are looking for.
Yeah.
So tell us about this project.
Sure.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to have our station manager kind of just tease us just a little bit because we're not gonna do the premiere until
you
halfway into the second. Yeah, you know what? If we have some old stuff,
Blackguard just came out. We can pop that one on.
Okay, Blackguard. If that's up there, then we can, and then we could go back because I really do want my listeners to get familiar with you and know who you are. They're just listening in for the first time. Like, where'd you start? Where are your projects at now? Where they can find you and what they can look for.
Yeah. All right. So, well, I mean, I originally kind of came into New Haven a couple of years ago. I was touring in Boston with a pop punk hardcore band, and I was front manning for that, doing all the band management and absolutely loving it. We were playing shows everywhere.
Right.
And that's an amazing life. I mean, the energy that you get from that kind of genre of music is insane, and just the people who show up are the people who are going insane. Yeah. Right. and
you're like literally
it's addicting, and so when I came to New Haven, I kind of wanted to sort of fully flip the switch and see, okay, what else can I do? Where can I kind of explore my creativity? And one thing that I'd been doing simultaneous to touring with this band was I was making music for video games and short television. And this is kind of like epic orchestral Lord of the Rings music that I was just kind of making in my basement or whatever, and was just licensing out for really cheap. And I said, I want to expand on this sound because I love drama. I love cinematic drama. I love big emotional movements. And I also wanted to bring my voice into that sound and bring some other parts of genres that I love, really kind of driving beats from
the
hip hop.
Punk. Hip hop.
And punk and all that stuff. And so started to bring it together, and I was talking to my producer, Jean-Christophe Santoli, who's over at Raw Recording Studios in New York. If you're listening to JC.
Shout out to them, JC. Yes.
And I came to JC and I said, I have this idea for a group, and I want it, a name that nobody's going to forget, and a kind of music that we want to put at the beginning of every television show and
everyone.
And he was on board. We started to work together. He's the one who originally hooked me up with Kimberly Locke from American Idol, and she recorded on the first three tracks, and we are in a partnership together. She's incredible. And so
is that the Bond villain?
Yeah, so that's the Bond villain trifecta right there. Okay. Exactly. And since then, it's just constantly writing, constantly making new music. We are actually starting to prioritize getting some live shows together. So that's coming together. Nice. I've got a very secret team that's starting to build up, and I'm really excited about it.
Sounds like you've got award-winning drummers. You've got a team that's getting ready to just take you to, the next level with what your music really is. It's here locally, but obviously you've worked, around the country. But this is, I think, time for the music to really go to maybe what you would say mainstream.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I love the concept of keeping it local, but for the most part, it's just so powerful for me to kind of be here and tap into the resources that are here.
Yeah.
I love speaking with people like you. I love working with musicians in this area, and also slowly expand outwards and find where these people are. For example, we get, on Blackguard, we got, I don't know how many views we have on there now, but
we are listening to Blackguard right now.
That's right. Also, I don't have any. Should I listen to the music yet? Let me check. Let me switch headphones real quick.
Because I hear it in the.
Okay, I don't have anything on the side. Sorry. But when I first started to
are you
have
in?
No, I don't have it on there yet. No, I don't hear. It's all good.
It's playing. I'm enjoying it, but I want Robert to.
Wait, I want to try these ones.
Yeah,
on.
just grab. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Your double head set it up.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So when we first dropped this song, there was a huge explosion of views and shares coming out of Brazil, and there's thousands of people who are sharing this music down in Brazil, and I'm like, oh man, this is starting to expand outwards. So that's been really big.
This is I'm telling you, I think this is my favorite because I remember when you first, were on the show, that this is the song that, we had debuted back then. Mm-hmm. But I just said, this is, this needs to be, in a movie. So, or do you get phone calls from producers or? I know you do.
I'm not telling you anything.
Okay, I'm getting the exclusive on-air release of a song, but I don't. But I might have to off camera.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with you, Robert.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just excited. I'm just very excited. So what goes into making the music that you make? Is it a band? Do you have a creative team that comes in with you and for lyrics? I know because you just said you have a team, but how long? What's the process? For someone's out there and they're saying, wow, I mean, some people might think it takes you 6 months to a year to come up with something like that. What's the timeline for an artist like yourself to capture music that's perfect like that? Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really funny because the songwriting process often begins, the first 1% of a songwriting process is explosive, where you lay out 90% of everything. You lay out the concept, like this song that we're listening to right now is Let Me Go. And JC originally came with me with a small 20-second segment. He said, I want to make something along these lines, have this sound with this thumping beat and these piano lines. And I said, I have this idea. So we cranked out, basically within 24 hours, almost the entire song. And
Whoa.
Lyrics and everything.
Because once you're, is that what, like when you're in it, like as an artist, like as a choreographer, there's some days where I can just go in and it's instant.
It comes to you.
Right. So that's what happened to you on this song.
Exactly. But then the next year is honing it in and trimming and going back and forth on edits and adding something and taking it away.
Right.
And then being like, okay, it's done. And then another month before you release it.
You're like, let's just change the part before the bridge. Exactly. That's amazing.
Now, what I really love is this song that I'm releasing today, What's Wrong With Me, was the fastest track song ever because we finished it and we were like, we need to get this out today.
Oh my God, that's why I can't wait
to. It's really fun. It's perfect for the summer. And but the overall kind of like the process, it changes with every song. And for example, the first original 3 tracks we released, it was JC, Kimberly Locke, and myself sitting down multiple times a week and going through the lyrics and feeling them out, saying, how do we want to represent this band for the first time? Mm-hmm. And it went amazing. Like I go back and I listen to these songs and I'm saying, these are incredibly produced written songs.
Yeah. But especially when you get in the room with artists who you're all on the same artistic page.
Exactly.
At some point.
Exactly.
So that's why it's a blessing that it can come that it's not easy. It's creative. Mm-hmm. Where it all just kind of the magic happens.
Yeah, exactly. And a big part of it is when you bring in other musicians who are, I will have people coming in playing horns, people coming in playing strings and drums, you always have a vision for what they're going to do. And you can, in some way, tell them what to do. Be like, all right, we'll play this. But their style and their technique and their skill starts to explode out. And then all of a sudden the song becomes something you didn't even imagine.
That's right.
And that's what I love.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much I can do as one person. And I have really great ideas, but none of this would happen if it wasn't for the people that I was working with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a wonderful thing about music and, you know, being musicians and artists that get together and they really want to make sure that they're representing not only the band, but everyone's bringing their unique talents, you know, into this. I am like beyond excited. So we are going to take a short break. We're going to get some questions from Facebook.
Okay.
Folks, make sure, and we're going to actually have you call in because I know that there's a ton of questions, especially aspiring artists or people that are recording right now. This is a great time to ask Robert Roach really some questions about the industry. And then, folks, don't forget we have an on-air exclusive premiere with Bonneville, and I'm just beyond excited. All right, we will be back. Do not touch that dial.
What number should they call in?
203-684-8907. Again, 203-684-8907. We'll be right back after the break.
Introducing us to a new thing. I wanna save it for later. The taste of flavor, cause I'm a taker, cause I'm a giver. It's only nature. I live for danger. All that you got, skin to skin. Oh my God, don't you stop, boy. All that you got, skin to skin. Oh my God, don't you stop, boy. Something about you makes me feel like a dangerous woman. Something about you makes me wanna do things that I shouldn't. Something about all girls wanna be like that. Bad girls underneath like that. You know how I'm feeling inside. All girls wanna be like that. Bad girls underneath like that. You know how I'm feeling inside. Something about you. Something about you.
And we are back live with Robert Roach of Bonneville. And folks, don't forget at 1:30 today, we're going to have the exclusive on-air song, What's Wrong With Me, today. But before we get there, it's just amazing that your career, it's been long, but because an artist here, it's a long time. If you're in the industry for 6 months, it's long. But how long have you actually been like performing and writing and producing?
Sure. I would say since at least 2012 have I been kind of like really seriously in it. And Bonneville, and to be honest, like, you know, I will count the first time that we ever released our music as when we came onto the scene, and that was actually just about a year ago from this July. So it was last July that we released songs, and it's been on one hand, it actually feels like a long time because obviously the whole process leading up to that point was ridiculous. You know, we spent so much time trying to figure out where we were going to go with it, and then as we started to lock it in, we we finally released these 3 songs, and since then it's been I can't believe I just realized it on the air right now. It's been a year. And things are moving fast, but never fast enough. That's
never fast enough.
Yeah.
You know what happens usually, and this is what I find in the industry and in the business, we jam in like things in a weekend as performers that most people don't jam in a year.
Yeah.
So once you hit a year, you're just like, you just do a lot.
That's my everyday. Like, I get home, I'm like, what have I done? I don't even remember this morning.
Yeah, like what happened? That was 18 hours ago.
Yeah.
And you know what? Shout out to our significant others who are so unbelievably supportive. So that's a good time to thank them. But you know what's great because they're right there with us. So we keep everybody going and moving.
That's a big part of the song that I'm putting out today. Is a lot of it has to do with finding your community.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it, but the community is essential to me, and that's why wherever I live, I like to work as hard as I can to build up my community. Reach out to the people around you.
And that's important.
Go to the weird small business that's around the corner. Talk to the owner. Talk to the people around the street that you see more than twice a week.
Yeah.
And
bigger picture.
Just starting conversations like that, it builds a stronger community. It makes a better world. So I'm
amen
all about that. Yeah.
Amen to that.
And they'll support you back. That's the thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And
forget that.
Because people want people to do well. People really do want people to do well. And especially when you're creating something. I think it's a win-win for community, for the arts, culture, all that community, all that good stuff. So we are going to be premiering the song at 1:30. So leading up to that, tell us the inspiration, or when did it come to the brain? When did it become that brainchild of like, okay, this is it? Conception. Bring us back to conception.
Back to conception. All right, I got it. So I think that a lot of times the songwriting process also starts with a feeling. You want to kind of portray a certain feeling in your song, in your music. And I'll be honest, life has been fabulous lately.
No,
and
that is good to. That's good to know.
You get the feeling. The feeling's reflected in the song. When you just listen, if there was no lyrics at all, it's just, it feels amazing. It's it's driving. You've got that like amazing kind of summer feel to the song, which is very unique for Bond Villain. That's extremely upbeat. But as with all Bond Villain songs, there is kind of a much deeper subtext in the lyrics. So I mean, one phenomenon that we all experience, what happens when in the summertime when you go on Instagram, you go on Facebook, and you're looking at what your friends are doing, and every time, like, what is it always? It's like, look where I am, look what I'm doing. Look how beautiful I am, look at all the amazing stuff that I'm doing,
look at all my selfies.
All my selfies. Here's me with
I'm
a celebrity.
tagged in here, I'm tagged in here.
And everybody puts on this face. But I think also everybody feels, man, like I can't. What's wrong with me? Why am I not? Why am I not good enough? Why am I not beautiful enough, or sexy enough, or succeeding fast enough? And I think a big element that was a period of self-discovery for me, as well as for the people who I love are in my life, is that everybody goes through that, and it doesn't matter how successful or how beautiful or how well-traveled you are. You experience doubt and self-doubt.
Yes.
And
that's
feel
human.
Alone. Yeah.
That's human.
And so in the phrase, what's wrong with me? That's a very kind of solo, internal term. And what this song is it's a mental process of someone, myself, anyone who's listening to that song, going through the realization that, you're not completely alone. And that there is a community of people who are all feeling the same thing that you are.
But they just don't say it.
Yeah. And so we've got this really jazzy summer vibe, and that the song is this jazzy summer vibe that you can listen to. But if you really think about it, it has to do with really difficult things like depression. It has to do with things that, no one really, no one imagines that, someone who doesn't experience it couldn't imagine what depression in June or July feels like, but it happens. We all put it off, or we don't think about it. And so this song is a bit of an anthem for everybody.
For everyone.
Just, to understand that it's okay to feel that way. And it's also okay to just realize that you yourself are bad dude or bad girl who's ready to take on the world.
Take on the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be in the perception of pictures or selfies or tagging yourself at the beach or on an island. It really is about just self, I think, worth.
Exactly.
And just really going out and knowing that you are who you are. But then again, like you said, like community. Yeah. Community that will that has your back, that will support you. I'm just I'm just excited because well, actually we're humbled that you're touching on things like, you know, self-worth, self-esteem, depression, because we see it now more than ever. Yeah. It's a little bit more prevalent. So I think this is a song that folks can, if you're not directly connected with, you know, depression, but you know someone, and so I think this will be a powerful song for all. Yeah, you know, that are listening. So when after this, is this the video that you're working on?
No, so this is a different song. So the video that's coming out in July, that's going to be completely different. All right, so this is so the video that for What's Wrong with Me. Yeah, no video right now. We're just going to make sure the song, people are going to like just connect, you know, with the song. Folks, make sure you call in because we are 5 minutes away from the exclusive on-air release of What's Wrong with Me. Folks, make sure you give it, like I said, give us the buzz. 203-684-8907. It's great to call in when I have these. Come on, y'all. Call in. Call on in when I have these wonderful, amazing artists. I know you're listening out there. Let's go.
Why do people I don't get something.
They get phone shy.
They get phone shy. And people, literally, we have folks that watch and listen into this show weekly. But, you know, listen, if you can go and selfie or go Facebook, then you can call in you can be anonymous. We don't even need to know your name, honestly. Right?
Yeah.
They can call in.
Just do it.
They can do that. All right, folks. We will be right back with the on-air exclusive.
Ooh, it's time.
It's time. Premiere of What's Wrong with Me. We'll be back in 2.
Don't need permission, made my decision to test my limits. Cause it's my business, God as my witness. Start what I finished. Don't need no hold up, taking control of this kind of moment.
And welcome back to the Talk Sip. It's not every day that you get an exclusive on air debut premiere of a group that is not only up and coming, but they're doing their thing now. But just be listening for their names and listen for this group because they're going to be doing big things. And it's amazing that you know, like you said, so supportive of the community that you come and you take the time to come and sit down and talk with us. So that's why we wish you the best.
Pleasure's all mine.
Best of luck. So now let's set this up because we're 2 minutes away from the premiere, the release of What's Wrong with Me. Just tell our listeners and our viewers just kind of what to expect, or just set it up, and then we're gonna go right into it.
All right, y'all. So I'm excited. This is the Bond Villain Summer Jam
Summer Jam.
This is our summer single release. We absolutely love this song. It's totally different from anything we've done before, and I just couldn't be more proud of it. So listen to it, enjoy it. It's going to be up tomorrow on all at Bond Villain Band on all social media, at Bond Villain on Facebook, at Bond Villain Band on Twitter and Instagram. The song is going to be live on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere within 24 hours. And just keep your ears open and listen to this song, share it, enjoy it. And I want to make a big splash with it, so enjoy.
Yeah, summer splash.
That's what I'm saying.
Folks, the premiere of Bond Villain, What's Wrong with Me. Enjoy.
Respect and love. Maybe it's been a bluff. Maybe I will be heard. Maybe I've had enough. Maybe I will be heard. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with What's wrong with me? I've been writing the list of all the things I've done. I'm not good at this. It's not very long. Baby, I've got my grit, and I will be heard. Maybe I've had enough. Maybe I will be heard. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And I'll say, when the world turns its back on me, I might not be perfect, but I've got a lot to bring to the rain. City of lights, build me tonight. So let me hear you sing, hey, 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 hey. What's wrong with me? Hey, 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 hey. What's wrong with me? Hey, 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 hey. What's wrong with me? Hey, hey, hey. What is wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?
Wow. That's the exclusive.
Yeah, thanks.
Whoa. Well, we're in here bobbing. We got Harry, our station manager, over there bobbing. How catchy is that?
Thanks a lot.
What that's a summer jam.
Yeah.
That is the summer jam.
Yeah.
And What's Wrong with Me? I mean, people are going to be like, they're going to hear that, but they're going to be inspired. And it's like, nothing's wrong with you.
That's
like, what's
right.
wrong with me? Nothing.
Yeah.
Because you're bobbing and that is amazing. That, you know what? When you told us what the song, the kind of like the inspiration, I really get it because I connect it with the lyrics. I connect it with the music. Catchy chorus. And I mean, just the lyrics are, that's a happy song.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a funny thing because you
That's
listen
awesome.
to them, you read the verses and you're like, oh man, this is a person who's really struggling. But as you go through the song, by the time you finish it, you're like, okay, so this is a journey, and this is what everyone goes through.
Yeah,
I can totally relate.
Totally, and I think anytime you have like a catchy, like the bass line and the just the like the oh my gosh, the guitar
surprise guitar solo at the end.
Yeah, I was like, I heard that, I love that. Yes, that is amazing. It's just, it makes you connect with the song, but then people start listening to the lyrics. So folks, make sure because you can get taken back by like the upbeat and the happy of the song, but the lyrics are something that you really can connect with. Well,
that's going to be out tomorrow at noon. Everything's out.
Like, what's wrong with me? Wow. But you heard it here first. So if people want to just honestly just keep hearing the song, they just keep going back to this link and just playing it over, because we're...
Listen up, you pirates. Don't be chopping that out.
That's right. You better go on Amazon. Because
Harry, you got us protected, right? Come on,
yeah,
man.
Harry's protecting it. Harry's pushing that magic button right now. So how does it feel as an artist to sit here and listen to your creations?
That's the thing. And people ask me that, like, what's it like to listen to your own music? And it's like, I make this music... The first reason I make this music is because I want it to exist, and it doesn't exist. I like to listen to my own music because it's something that I wanted to exist in the world that no one else was going to make. So I was like, if no one's going to do it, I might as well do it.
Right.
And so I love listening to my music. It's a thrill sitting here and thinking that, okay, some people out there hearing this song for the first time.
Well, and you have
it's been on my
hundreds of
mind
people,
every single day,
And that's great, because hundreds of people have listened to it. But then there's some inspiration behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power,
yeah.
Of this. Folks, give us a buzz. Let us know what you think. 203-684-8907. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am a huge Hall & Oates fan.
Yeah.
Like huge. And you might not want, you might be like, but what do you know what I actually heard? I heard some really soulful, kind of Hall & Oatesy kind of like sound at the end that was just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's been really cool. I've been especially with my vocals, I've been driving them to a new place. I'm very comfortable where I am. I'm recording and singing now, and it's got some grit in it, and I actually do a little shout out to that in the lyrics. I say, "Baby, I've got my grit." It's like you've got, you start to lock it in. You start to realize what your swing is and where you are feeling the best, and it's never, you're never at a point where you don't have to improve anymore.
Right.
So that feels really good to hear, because it's like I want to bring in a little bit more of what I truly am on the inside to this music, instead of just trying to represent what I think it should sound like.
Right. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you, you probably have some things with you as an artist that you don't even know yet, that other people probably can identify. I'm going to tell you, you're going to, that sound, there's a sound that's there that I just heard that folks can absolutely, connect to. And I'm not trying to tell my age, but there's a... I probably do every week on the show, though. I probably have like said my age. Like some days I probably say whatever, and I just tell people how old I am. But those people that are in their prime ages, in their mid 40s, we literally, that's that's music and soulfulness that never goes out of style, right, Harry?
Definitely, and I know exactly what you meant when you said the little Hall & Oatesy feel.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear it.
Oh, it was great. I got goosebumps. Because I'm telling you.
Everybody tweet Hall & Oates. Let's go.
Yeah. Listen, tweet. No, I'm telling you, tweet Hall & Oates. I'm telling, and hashtag.
Everyone who just heard that song,
what hashtags are we going to use?
Make a post. All right, get on your social medias.
Yeah,
tag Bond Villain. If you just type in Bond Villain, you're going to see my face pop right up.
It's right here. That face right there.
This one right here. And then
let's do this.
Get on, tag that, and just said, I just heard hashtag what's wrong with me, and there's nothing wrong with me anymore now.
Hashtag there's nothing wrong with me anymore.
But seriously, share Bond Villain. Like it's the biggest thing that helps our project move forward. And if you're making posts and saying this song's gonna be out tomorrow, I just heard it live on the radio, it
pushes
it helps us so much. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And that's what it's all about. positive message, catchy beat, and my gracious, thanks God, summer is here. Did it get here last week? I think it got a week ago.
Something happened last night.
I don't know what happened. That was just like I'm
some
like
kind of monsoon.
it's in the air. It's in the air. But it's one of those things where the summer people want that to be out, like you said, out. People are traveling.
Yeah.
So I would say to folks, find your own destination within.
Right.
Find your own destination within, and you don't have to, dance or walk to anybody else's, beat. Find your destination within, and you'll find yourself. And it can be sitting in on your back deck, or right here where we are, or you walk outside. That's
absolutely,
yeah.
And it's just walking down your street and seeing the one little store or one person that you never talked to or never went into, and just say and just give it a shot and open up a conversation. The one thing I love is something. If you've got a day off in the middle of the week, just go out, do all your errands on that day.
Yeah.
Because that's when all the people who are just kind of like, for example, I went to Home Depot. I must have had 15 conversations with senior citizens because they're just walking around.
Isn't it Wednesday? Isn't it Senior Citizen Day?
Oh, man, I don't know about that.
I think they do. No, seriously.
But it's such a rewarding experience to have those conversations. I went home. I had a big, stupid smile on my face for like 3 hours because I had five different conversations about, about whatever, wood chips and stuff like that. But these are people who just love to be out. And so, that's
great.
That's a small
profound.
act. That's a small act, but it changed the way that I looked at my community, even just that one day, And so I encourage everyone. You don't have to go to the Bahamas to have a huge smile on your face. In fact, I think you're more likely to have a huge smile on your face consistently if you tap into the life that you have.
That's
where
right.
you are, be where you are, lead where you are.
That's right.
That kind of stuff.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna have more music. Let's go out with because I want to hear more. I love that. I love that beat. That's amazing. And Harry, maybe we could even bring it back to the last couple of.
Well, we'll go out with the new debut song.
Okay, all right.
But tell the audience again how they buy your music, because I don't think you say it enough. I don't think you say it enough.
We want people to buy this.
If you want to buy this, get on iTunes and buy this music, and get on Amazon and buy it. It's available there.
And,
all my songs are available 99 cents each. You can Amazon or iTunes, no problem. If you want to stream it on Spotify, we're getting up on Pandora. We're all the main streaming websites. We're going to be there. We're on Tidal.
No, I love it. No, tell us. Tumblr
and if you find the second you go and find Bonnvillain, share that song. Just put it on your playlist. Share it to your social media and say, find your favorite one and share it and say, this is a musician who I know or who I don't know, but they made a song that touched me in some way or makes me feel good or makes me feel like I'm a total
and dive into
dude and just dive into that feeling and enjoy it, because
you could create a Pandora playlist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna do that right now on the break,
dude.
There you go.
Get on it.
See, Harry's on it.
Make a Pandora playlist, your Spotify playlists. Share them around. We're trying to get Bonnvillain out to as many human beings as possible.
That's right.
Or not human beings, whatever you
the
want to share with your dog, your
movement. Bonnvillain movement.
That's right. That's right.
I'm gonna have a lot of
plan.
I'm gonna have a lot of hashtags. See, Harry's a fan. We're fans. This is great. Harry's a fan. All right, folks, we'll be right back. We still have the end of our segment, but we've got some more to talk about. But let's enjoy this music. You're on the break. And welcome back to the Talk Sip. Again, you are listening to our arts and culture and music forum today, and I'm so excited to have Robert Roach here with me from Bond Villain, and we just debuted his single, What's Wrong With Me. I'm just extremely excited about your journey and where you're going, and it's great to be a part of your process, and so I'm just beyond excited. Let me know and let our viewers and our listeners know, what can we expect from you as an artist and Bond Villain?
So we in the coming weeks, we've got this song dropping tomorrow. You're gonna hear it right now, but officially it's out tomorrow. And share it, listen to it, pass it around, enjoy it. 4th of July weekend, just have some fun.
Yeah.
And then coming up, end of July, beginning of August, releasing a music video and a new track. It's called "Die for You." It's just like
it's
epic.
hot.
It's epic.
Is it hot?
It's super hot.
I like hot, and then like you said, you have a chick drummer, so you got a girl drummer.
It's gonna be really cool.
That's awesome.
And we have a lineup of amazing songs that are coming up, and we're just gonna release them, as the demand comes. If you guys are online sharing our music, asking for songs, we're gonna keep releasing them.
That's right.
And we're gonna release them faster and faster. We already have them all ready to go. So
supply and demand.
Exactly, that's right. Show me the demand.
Show me the demand. I will supply.
And coming up this year, I'm getting together a team. We're gonna start playing some live shows. I'm gonna keep everyone posted on that.
Yeah, we want live shows from you, because you're very creative, but you have a stage presence. So we want to see. I think your fans probably want to see that part of you a little bit more.
I think so. And that's for me too. It's like, I love being on stage. It's so much fun.
Lights, camera, action.
It's such a ridiculous and outrageous experience every time, and that's what I live to do. So I do need to get back up there.
Yeah, come on, just like bring it out. Like I could see like stage show, like lighting and
lighting.
I could imagine.
But get on on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Bond Villain Band. On Facebook, it's at Bond Villain. We're gonna be Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, everywhere. Just find the music, find the group, and just share it, like us, follow us.
Share.
We're gonna be going very fast from now on. So I'm really excited.
Imagine. Oh, I am so. It's always so good to see you, and I can't even imagine what a year has brought for you creatively and as an artist. But I just can't wait to see where this journey for you goes in the very, very, very near future.
You'll be there.
Yeah, I will be there. That's right. You will, and you'll always have open arms here at the Talk Sip.
Well,
103.5 FM.
Shout out to the Talk Sip, to Elisa and
thank
Harry.
you.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Oh,
here.
absolutely. This is what we do. We support local, we support community, we support live music and artists. So, all right, Harry, let's put that back on, because we're.
All right,
let's rock it out. What's wrong with me?
Single.
New single. Ow!
Never been good enough for the likes of the world. It's always been a little tough to get respect and love. Maybe it's been a bluff. Maybe
the music. If not, you know what? I know I'm enjoying it. I know you guys are out enjoying it. It's inspirational. But make sure you go find the links and purchase and support this amazing group. Well, folks, that is our time. We're still going to rock out with this song. But remember, always keep your glass full. Stay positive. Stay focused. Until the next time, thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Best of luck. So excited. I'm going to get my copy today. I'm going to go purchase, support live music. Erin. There we go. He's going to get a copy too.
Definitely love Bond Villain.
That's
Maybe
right.
I've got my grit, and I will be heard. Maybe I've had enough. Maybe I will be heard. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And I'll say, when the world turns its back on me, I might not be perfect, but I've What's wrong with me?
Lord, Lord, Kansas City, here I come. They got crazy little women out there hanging around, and I'm gonna get me one. I'm gonna be standing on the corner, 12th Street and Vine. I'm gonna be standing on the corner, 12th Street and Vine, with my Kansas City woman and about love that good Kansas City wine. Now I might just take me a plane, I might just take a train. But if I've got to walk, you know I'm gonna be just the same. Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women out there hanging around. I'm gonna get me one. Ah, look out.
This is Harry Droz, and you're listening to WNHHLP 103.5 FM, New Haven.
Go away from me, sucker. I've been waiting for you too long.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Economic Update, a weekly program devoted to the economic dimensions of our lives, jobs, incomes, debts, our own and our children's. I'm your host, Richard Wolff. I've been a professor of economics all my adult life, and I hope that that's prepared me to offer you these economic updates about what's in the news. I want to begin by a kind of shout out to the state of Colorado. It turns out that Colorado is for worker co-ops what Delaware has been for capitalist corporations. That is, the laws in Colorado, thanks to all kinds of folks in our state's history, are very friendly to the formation and the growth and the development of the worker co-op kind of enterprise. And the reason it's interesting to me has to do with the fact that I recognize that the Republican and Democratic parties for 250 years have been busy pushing states around the country, and above all Delaware, to be especially friendly to capitalist enterprises. You know, the kind of enterprises with a few people who are the shareholders and a tiny number of people they elect to be the board of directors to run businesses that way. Those two parties were useful to set up the laws to make that happen. If there were a political party in the United States committed to worker co-ops as a better democratic alternative, they would be running around the country doing for the country as a whole what Colorado has taken the initiative to begin to do. I want to recognize what the Colorado folks did, but I also want to make us aware that a political party is needed to give worker co-ops a level playing field with what the capitalist enterprises have gotten done for them for centuries. I also want to follow up in a separate update with the problem of worker suicide. Recently, there have been several, actually 6 suicides among cab drivers in the city of New York. It has become impossible for them to be cab drivers. The arrival of Uber, Lyft, and other services has put an incredible pressure on workers. They don't get the money they once did. They have to work unbelievable hours. And here in New York, where a taxi medallion, the legal right to have a taxi, was very expensive and purchased by cab drivers over recent decades, they're now discovering that those medallions are virtually worthless, as Uber and Lyft have destroyed their value and they're killing themselves. You know, it's the responsibility of a society not to have that happen. We don't need to have a system in which competition among capitalists is something that kills workers. You know, we've had that in our history. We didn't permit it. There was a time when we allowed mines to be operated in a way that killed miners. We allowed all kinds of enterprises to be run in a way that stunted or even killed small children that were working there. And we had movements to protect miners, to make child labor illegal. We didn't permit corporations to say, oh, we need to compete, we need to have cheap child labor, or we need to save money on taking care of the miners. We can do the same thing to prevent suicide, and we ought to have done it long ago. My attention was caught also by France. It turns out in France there are laws that hold top executives accountable if below them in the corporation suicides are occurring. One of the biggest corporations in France used to be called France Telecom. It's their basic phone company. It's now called Orange, like the color telephone company. Well, their 2 top executives are on trial now, held to be accountable for the harassment of workers leading to, count them, 19 suicides among those workers. In France, you prosecute people who impose suicidal conditions. Here in the United States, you pretend it doesn't count. My hat's off also today to the people of California. Petitions were circulated among Californians, and over 407,000 of them signed, and that was more than enough to get a ballot question put on the election for this coming November. And here's what it says. Rents have gone up sky high in California. 6 of the 11 most rapidly rising rent areas in America are in that state alone, California, led by Los Angeles and particularly the Bay Area around San Francisco. More than half of the income, which is way more than you're supposed to spend for rent, is the burden of 1.7 million families in California. Now, of course, the housing industry says if you limit how much we can squeeze out of renters, and boy, they have gone up spectacularly in the last few years, well, then we won't build houses if we can't make a lot of money off of them. That's a threat. That's a threat of one industry against the millions of people who depend on it. We ought to respond to those threats with a counter threat. You don't build the buildings? Fine. The public sector will build and maintain decent quality public housing, and then there won't be the ability for you to raise those rents at all, will there be? I want to talk to you about another story that's much in the news right now. President Trump and the Republican Party are busy slapping tariffs and punishments of all kinds on our trading partners. You know, it's part of the assault on foreigners. First of all, we bash immigrants. Those are people who come from a foreign country into ours. And now we're also going to bash foreigners who don't trade with us under conditions we would prefer because they're more profitable to us. Is this new? Here's my answer. Not at all. The last time the United States tried to rearrange world trade to its own advantage was in the 1980s. In those days, Americans were reacting, much as they are today, to noticing that there were lots of Japanese cars on the road here in the United States, and that Americans were preferring them over their American competitors. You know, Toyotas, Datsuns, and all of that, rather than Fords, Chevys, and all of that. Mr. Trump's top trade negotiator, Robert Lighthizer, was actually involved in the deal that was made then. The United States threatened Japan. You have to limit the number of cars you sell here, not by how many Americans want to buy, but by a number we'll give you. You have to agree not to send more cars here. Otherwise, we will really close this country off to you. The Japanese caved. They agreed to the quotas. And according to the PERC, my apology, a think tank that's independent, the cost to the Americans of having no cheaper Japanese cars worked out to about $1,200 a car. We all paid more because the American company could charge more since the Japanese couldn't compete because they had been closed out. The cost of a tariff war like the quotas will be higher prices for all of us to pay, and that's something you ought to think about, since you can be sure that the people pushing this leave that part of the story out. My last two updates are important because they're the kinds of things you might not think about, but you ought to. The French government is threatening to fine the American giant corporation General Electric. Why? Well, it turned out that in 2014, the General Electric company petitioned the French government to be able to buy a very large electric company in France called Alstom. And a deal was arrived at in which the French government, then led by a socialist president, said, okay, you can buy the French company, but you have to create 1,000 jobs in exchange for doing that. The French government recognized that the coming together of these two companies would eliminate many jobs, but at least some jobs would be created. And General Electric committed to hire 1,000 more people as part of this deal, and it was to be done by the year 2018. Well, here it is, 2018, and the French government says you've hired exactly 323 of the 1,000 jobs you promised. The penalty that you signed the contract to commit you to pay it is 50,000 euros per job not created. That would come to 34 million euros for the total jobs you didn't create. For General Electric, that's a tiny amount of money. It's like change in your pocket. So now there's a problem. General Electric, of course, doesn't want to pay. It hopes that what usually has happened in the past will happen again, namely that no one will really follow up, no one will keep an exact track, and even if they do, nobody will bother them about this. It will all go away. And believe me, General Electric is right to have assumed that, because this kind of thing happens in the United States literally every day. I can't tell you the number of times I have sat in a public hearing listening to a corporation make wonderful promises about what it's going to be allowed to do if only it gets this tax break, if only it gets this subsidy, if only it gets the road rerouted so it's more convenient for them, if only, knowing full well that the politicians who will say, okay, then we'll do it because of these good things, they won't be there in the 4 years when this is supposed to happen. They will have long forgotten it. The press will not pay attention. It will disappear. It's an empty promise that no one follows up on. In France, partly because of the power of the labor movement and the power of socialist, communist, and other parties, you can't do that the way you do that in this country. So the French government, even though the socialists are gone and a quite right-wing government sits in power now, they have to at least look like they're doing something to keep track of all of this, because it's too dangerous for them politically to let this go. France is different from the United States. My last update has to do with the Ford Motor Company and the city of Detroit and the dilapidated, broken down, old Michigan Central Railway Station in the middle of that city. The last train to leave that station left in 1988. That's right. 30 years of decay, of breaking down, of broken windows, and heaves in the floor. You get the picture. Why did that happen? Because the city of Detroit was destroyed. What do I mean? Well, back in 1988, the population wasn't that far off of 2 million. The population today is under 700,000. That's called urban collapse. That's when everybody leaves. That's when there are thousands, tens of thousands of empty, abandoned homes and stores and, yes, railway stations. And why? Because 3 companies, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler, decided it was more profitable to produce somewhere else. In the American South, where wages were lower. In Canada and Mexico, where they were still lower. And now in India and China, where they are still lower. It's all about the profit for a tiny number of companies that destroyed that city, destroyed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, and destroyed, the Michigan Central Station. So imagine how happy I was, and how happy Americans were expected to be when Ford Corporation announced it was buying, for next to nothing, the building its decisions helped to destroy to make up a new tech center for themselves. We were all supposed to celebrate the renewal of Detroit and conveniently forget that the renewer was the destroying monster not that long ago, but I don't want anyone to forget. Well, we've come to the end of the first part of the show. Before meeting my exciting guest, Professor David Harvey, that many of you know, I want to remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you possibly can, to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and to go to our website, democracyatwork.info, for more of what we do and how you can get involved. As a special thank you to our Patreon community, I also want to say really thank you for the support you provide. It is crucial. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, friends, to the second half of Economic Update. It is my pleasure and indeed an honor for all of us, I think, to have our guest today, Professor David Harvey, a foremost Marxist thinker and critic and writer for many decades, to be our guest and to talk with me for the next little while. Professor David Harvey is at the Graduate Center of the City University of New York, perhaps best known for how he has been able to teach us, a whole generation of students like myself, what Marx's contribution is to understanding the capitalist system that we depend on and that we live in. He has written many, many books and articles, and his most recent, which I urge you to take a look at, is called Marx, Capital, and the Madness of Economic Reason. Thank you very much, David, if I can call you that, for joining us.
Of course.
Okay. All right, here's the basic question, the opener, if you like. What is the major contribution of Marx? Why is he the important thinker we should be reading and whose work we should be using right now?
Because he came up through a critique of classical political economy with a way of understanding the dynamics of capitalism. That is, of understanding how capital accumulates, how it circulates, and how it produces crises periodically. And I think those insights are still with us in exactly the same way that Marx saw it back in the middle of the 19th century. Capital is still with us, and capital is still creating crises and doing all those things that Marx said it was going to do.
So that the argument, which I hear so often, that capitalism has changed from Marx's time in the middle of the 19th century to today, is both obviously true and not really terribly relevant, since the basic dynamic of the system, which is what he tried to figure out.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why it's so, I think, relevant today, which is not to say that the details are not very different, because they have certainly changed, and we should take those into account. And we also have to remember that Marx didn't complete all of his work, so we have some work to do to complete it. But nevertheless, the basic laws of motion of capital, as he defined them in the middle of the 19th century, are still with us, and they're still creating mayhem and creating contradictions and creating havoc wherever we look.
Certainly, it's all around us in the world today. Let me pick up on a couple of things you said and go after them a bit more. Instability, the fact that this is an economic system which, if I have the numbers correctly, every 4 to 7 years has a downturn, and that these downturns can sometimes be deep and long-lasting, like in the 30s, and really like the one after 2008. Is this, in a sense, a sign that this is a systemic problem? Because for me, as a professional economist all my life, I've always wondered how my colleagues focus so much on Keynesian economics, because it is the recognition that it's an unstable system, a cyclical, crisis-prone system, but it has never, including the Keynesians themselves, never been able to fix it or to solve it or to end it. It's a kind of testimony. And I wanted your reaction to the validity of Marx's focusing on instability, on this bizarre quality.
I think one of the things that separates Marx from most economists is that most economists seem to like equilibrium and think there's something called equilibrium to which everything converges somewhere down the line. Marx says no, it diverges all of the time. So he's looking at it from the other direction and saying it creates disequilibrium, and the disequilibrium are the sorts of things we see in a crisis in which capital and labor sit side by side, and nobody knows how to employ them in productive ways, because somehow or other the market has not cleared and will not clear, and so that is then the mark of a genuine crisis.
What about the other critique, in a way, of capitalism? That besides being unstable, it is prone to inequality, and indeed extreme inequality of the sort we see around us today. How does Marxism go after or get at this inequality?
Well, Marx did an analysis which relied very much on the idea of perfect competition and pure competition. And what he showed was that under conditions of pure competition, the rich are going to get much richer and the poor are going to get much poorer. Now, we've had historic periods under capitalism where there's been some intervention from outside for political reasons and state reasons, so that we actually ended up with less inequality. Today, of course, the neoliberal period since the 1970s, everybody's been saying, let the market do the work and everything's going to be okay. And of course, the rich get richer, hand over fist, and it's getting even worse by the minute.
Yeah, so that, would you agree, for example, with Thomas Piketty and others like him, that there's some intrinsic logic to capital that produces inequality unless and until the very reaction to that inequality stops or reverses it for a while?
Yeah, no, there's something inherent within the system, and I guess the best way to summarize it is that in a perfect market situation, there is nothing more unequal than the equal treatment of unequals. Because everybody says the market is an egalitarian device, and it is. But if you start off much better endowed than me, then bit by bit, the gap between us goes higher, higher, and higher. And so that is what Marx showed brilliantly, I think, in Volume 1 of Capital, is that is an inevitable consequence of a free market capitalism.
So then, departing a little bit, but let me ask your opinion. How is it possible that capitalism has had defenders, past, present, and likely future, who seem either unable or unwilling to contend with these two central flaws, you might say, instability and inequality? How is it possible for a system with those flaws to present itself almost as the opposite of them?
I think one of the things we should recognize, though, is that capitalism has not been all bad. It's technologically very dynamic, and it's given us a lot of possibilities to organize life in a very, very different kind of way. And that's one of the big contradictions of the present situation. The technologies around us are fantastic. Labor-saving technologies, time-saving technologies. And of course, people are fascinated by that. And that's, I think, how a lot of people have a fetish belief almost in the beauties of a capitalist system because it does all of those things. Marx's point is to say, yes, it does all those things, but then what does it do? It produces homelessness. It produces less and less capacity to educate people. It makes students go into debt in order to get an education, does all of these things. And Marx is therefore emphasizing the contradictions. And I think that the trouble with conventional thinking is that it emphasizes the positives and it refuses to pay any attention to the negatives, or assumes they're external accidents, they're not integral to the system.
Yes, it always bothered me from my earliest times as a student. I used to make this comparison, I wonder how you think about it, that capitalism produces the problem of selling all the value that has come out of their assembly lines. So they invent something called advertising to promote the purchase. What an advertiser does is try to get you to part with your money for some object. And so the logic of advertisement, present all the positives and obliterate all the negatives. And this, which is a distortion of human communication for a profitable end, then seeps into the rest of our consciousness, so that we begin to think in terms of either or rather than the unity of the positive and the negative. It's a kind of capitalism coming back and obstructing its own analytical capabilities through this advertising imagery.
Yes. I don't think it's only advertising, though. I think, to me, one of the things about capital is the production of wants, needs, and desires in such a way as to define a whole way of life. For example, I think of suburbanization after World War II and the creation of the American suburb. And I think of the way in which that was supported by all of these sitcoms, I Love Lucy, The Brady Bunch, all this kind of stuff. It was advertising, in a sense, not in the crass sense, but in a real sense, a whole style of life. And then the whole style of life has political consequences. If you are an affluent person living in the suburb, you feel, and you become a homeowner, you get concerned about the value of your home. And you don't want people moving in who might depress the value of the home, and so you get exclusionary, and you start to get exclusions and segregations and gated communities, and it's a destructive way of life, which is actually created around the organization of wants, needs, and desires, which are not necessarily the ones we would freely choose, but are those which are necessary for the accumulation of capital to continue.
Yeah, well, the system is producing us rather than serving us. It's almost the Frankenstein monster. Our creation comes back and dominates us.
Right. But at the same time, there are possibilities. We see this in the internet. I mean, the internet came as a great sort of avatar of freedom and communication and all the rest of it. And now look what we've got. Net neutrality disappears. All of a sudden we find we're being surveyed through Google and everything else. So everything which was really positive about the internet suddenly it gets turned by commercialization and capital accumulation into something that's negative.
Yes, and I remember growing up with these inventions, all of which were going to be labor-saving.
Absolutely.
And my students today give me descriptions of their 60 and 70-hour weeks as a kind of mockery of all those claims.
The same thing in the household. We have household technologies now, which are time-saving, 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 time-saving. And if you ask people, does anybody, how do you feel these days? Do you have a lot of free time? And the answer is no. And of course, one of Marx's ideas about a really, really good socialist society was one which was characterized by massive amounts of free time, where you could do what the hell you liked.
Let me ask you a question that jumps forward, but I know it's in the minds of viewers and listeners. How do you view this Trump phenomena here in the United States? Is this a capitalism in trouble, flailing around with an extreme reaction? Or is this a capitalism confident in some sense of its capability and therefore willing to indulge a naughty person in leadership? How do you square your Marxist analytics with what you see?
Marx has a very good analytic concept, which I like a lot and is not used enough. And the concept is alienation. People are alienated in their work, for the most part. A lot of work is meaningless these days. People are alienated in their daily lives because they're dealing with a telephone company and all of these other things and credit cards and all the rest of it. People are alienated politically. We have a mass alienation of populations right now, and alienated populations generally act in ways which are violent and angry, or they sulk. And I think actually we're in a political situation where we have mass alienation right now. And until we address the roots of that alienation, which are the redefinition of labor processes by capital accumulation, the redefinition of daily life through the processes of capital accumulation, until we deal with all of those kinds of questions, and of course the buying and selling of political power by capital, until we deal with all those questions, I think we're not going to go anywhere. And I think Trump is the president of alienation.
Wow. Well, David, as always,
thank you.
It's never enough time. I want to thank you for staying with us.
Well, it was my pleasure.
Good. And I want to thank you all for partnering with us. I look forward to meeting and speaking with you again next week.
Hi, this is Bella, and you are listening. W N H L P 1 O 3 point 5 F M New Haven streaming live at www. dot
New Haven Independent.
No, yeah.
Perfect. .org.
.org.
Welcome back to Dateline New Haven, WNHH. New Haven's home for community radio. Boy, we got a treat for you now, folks. We just heard about state government. Now we're hearing about a revolution in New Haven. It starts in 2 days. It's the One City Revolution. Our community's coming together from every corner. 12 neighborhood management teams come together to launch 60 days of summer with 60 events for families, young people, young and old, to take part in over the summer in each of those neighborhoods. That's 12 times 60, math we're not even going to do right now. And we've been telling you every week in the lead up. The kickoff is Thursday, June 28th. And today we're going to have, as usual, Kim Harris, who is the force behind One City. She's the chair of the neighborhood community management team in New Hallville, who first got her New Hallville management team into shape and then got all the leaders of all the teams across the city to unite for this summer program. That's going to be step one in working together all year long to keep our city together. So Kim's going to update us on what's happening starting Thursday. And then we have 4 special guests. We got some celebrities in the studio. Young people in New Hallville who have a special role they're going to play in the One City event. And they're going to tell us all about that. So kids, sit tight for a minute. Let's listen to Kim update us. Kim, welcome back.
Oh, thank you,
It's
Paul.
crunch time, Kim.
Ooh,
We've been working for months and months on this thing.
Yes.
Thursday is at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
At the Field House at Hill House.
Absolutely.
We're going to have all the neighborhoods are gathering there.
Yes.
And they're going to tell people at one fair what they're going to be up to for the next 60 days for events that everyone can take care of. So every day this summer, you can go to onecityinitiative.org. That's a website, onecityinitiative.org. and find out what's happening in 12 different neighborhoods and pick what to do. So, Kim, what's the latest in the lead up?
Okay, Paul. So I want to say that we are definitely over the mark. If you do the math, 60 times 12 is 720. Right now we're at 741.
Well, 741 events?
Yes.
So some neighborhoods are doing more than one a day.
Yes.
Holy moly, Kim, way to go.
I'm telling you. And not only that, we know we're going to hit the 800 mark. The projection is 800. And I'm telling you, we are in such overload that Randy, our webmaster, she had to bring in some of the people from United Way to help upload because it's too much.
That's a lot of events.
It really is.
Now, are you, Kim Harris?
Yes.
Going to go to all 800 events?
I wish I could. I'm sure going to try.
You're going to be two places at once. You're going to be like Hermione and Harry Potter. You're going to be in New Hallville and Morris Cove at the same minute.
But this is why I'm training my team that you're going to be meeting. They're going to be going out with different people, and they're going to be capturing a lot of this stuff.
841.
We're at 741.
741 events.
Yes.
And counting.
And counting.
And it starts Thursday and then every single day.
Yes.
So what's going to happen at this event Thursday at 4 o'clock?
So what you're going to see is a bunch of tables out from different neighborhoods. Things you're just going to see a preview of different things that are going to happen. People want to introduce themselves, and they want to introduce their events that are going to be happening during the summer. And then you'll get a chance to hear some of the talent that's going to be going on this summer. So, for instance, from the stage, you'll get a chance to hear some kids singing, some choir singing, some dancers, some just different entertainment from around the town who have put in for some activities or events this summer. They will either be teaching an event, showcasing an event, or just displaying an event. And they're going to give us a preview on the stage.
How long does this go on, this event?
It goes from 4 to 8 p.m.
Whoa.
And then we have city directors, the managers of different city departments in New Haven. They're going to have tables, too, talking about what they do. We also have tennis in the neighborhood. They're going to come out. They're going to have different stations for the kids to actually touch different aspects of tennis. So the kids will be able to go through all these different activities with tennis. And we have a couple of bounce houses that will be happening. And then all the management teams. We were able to get almost 60 tables donated so far, and others are bringing their own tables. So we are really, really looking forward to just people meeting and greeting different neighborhoods. And some management teams may not have the 10 tables, but you'll go to the head table. You'll get a chance to meet them and say, hey, what's going on in your neighborhood?
And your vision here is not only the neighborhoods work together so that we all get to know each other and be part of one city, but we learn about each other's neighborhoods all summer.
Yes.
So whether you're someone who likes to go to a concert in the park.
Absolutely.
Or if you like to bring your kid to have a Sunday on Monday and read a book with a bookmobile in New Hallville, which is going to be one of the features. Basically, it's all different kind of activities. And you're also giving people incentives to visit businesses. So each neighborhood has picked 4 businesses or institutions that will offer 5, right?
5, yes.
That will offer a discount if you go with your One City card.
Yes.
And they're going to let you pay less, and you'll find out what local businesses are doing. And I think Grand Avenue will really be quite a place for people to discover.
I can't wait.
So much going on there.
It is. It's so interesting to see. And I'm not saying that, like One City, this is a happy thing. And we know that over the years, there's been a lot of strife in New Haven. And just for neighborhoods to come together, it's a hard thing, Paul. It's a very hard thing for us to share our neighborhoods, share our resources and things. And it's even with the One City, we see it and we're attacking it and we're saying, hey, okay, show us what you're doing. Show us what you're doing. We're going to share what we have going on. And not only that, we're going to come on over and we're just going to hang out and see what it's like. So we know that there's things going on in the neighborhood and people just don't venture outside of their neighborhood. But people are really, really looking forward to going outside of their neighborhood. I'm so ecstatic about that.
I know so many people, not just I, who feel like this is the most exciting thing to happen in New Haven in years. Hase V. Samil Top, I'm sorry if I'm sure I said that wrong, offers a clap hand for your wave. So does Hajibek Chabashalu.
Yes.
The Alder,
yes.
and Retta White. Thanks for listening, folks, and thanks for checking in on Facebook Live.
Yes.
So every week you bring us some people. You brought us, Kim Harris, you brought us some Yale medical students who are going to do work in as fun stuff for kids in the neighborhood. You brought us management team leaders. You brought us people who are going to train people to be better members of management teams.
Yes.
Today you brought us folks between 8 and 11 years old, correct?
Yes.
All from New Hallville.
All touch New Hallville or from New Hallville, absolutely.
So Anissa Sprite,
Oh,
Spirit.
The right
Joshua
spirit. That's right.
and John, you're all here. And why don't you tell us why you brought them and what they're going to tell us about, Kim?
So I'm going to actually turn the mic over to John because John came to me one day and said, "Hey, Miss Kim, I got an idea that we can do." John goes to my church. All the kids go to my church.
What
here.
church are we talking about?
The Mount Zion Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Mm-hmm.
And we run something called a VBS, Vacation Bible School. But they wanted to have a different spin on it because a lot of times when kids in the neighborhood hear Bible, they don't want to really be associated with that. But they like health, fitness, and eating. So I'm going to turn it over to John for a second and let him talk about his idea. This is his creation. And he brought Anissa and Spirit into the fold by saying, "Hey, can you help me develop this idea?" So me, myself, Kim Harris, and Kim, the mom of John, we've been helping them just kind of guide a little bit. But John really has his ideas of what he wants to do this summer for the neighborhood. So I'm going to turn the mic over to
him. John, thank you for coming on Dateline New Haven and WNHH. So, John, how old are you, buddy?
I am 8 years old.
All right. Now, what are you going to be doing this summer, John, with One City?
I am going to be having a healthy kids club.
A healthy kids club? What a great idea. So tell me, John, what is a healthy kids club?
It's a club where kids will learn the 8 laws of health and learn things that are like how many glasses of water a kid should drink. You should drink 4 glasses of water, and an adult should eat 8. Drink 8.
Now, what's going to happen at the Healthy Kid Club? Is this going to be once a week, every day? How often are you going to get this Healthy Kids Club together?
Well, once a week maybe.
Once a week? Okay, that sounds like a good idea, tall order. And what are you going to do besides give people information? Are you going to do any games?
We're going to go on some field trips to the store. We're going to go in nature. We're going to plant a little garden.
Whoa.
And we may even be able to have time to go to the park and just have free time.
That sounds like a great way to be spending summer. So that means, Kim Harris, if I'm a parent, my kids are grown now, but if my kids are still small, I'd be looking at the onecityinitiative.org website and on one day of the week, and I'd see Healthy Kids Club, and I'd see that if I come down with John and the others here,
that's right,
my kid, and I might hang out too, would go to a store one day and talk about how to get healthful food.
That's
Another
right.
day I'd be out in the woods. That sounds like a great idea.
Absolutely. So we want the whole thing is we said that we would introduce it for 4 days. I think it's the 16th, 17th, 17th, 18th, and the 19th of July. And then following that, each month, we would get the word out and say, hey, in September, the Healthy Kid Club is going to meet once a month. In October, we'll meet once a month, and we'll base a theme around the seasons.
So this is part of One City in general.
Yes.
You're getting us busy all summer, but your eye, Kim Harris, I've been watching what you're up to. Your eye is to have stuff keep going.
Absolutely.
This is just the beginning of neighbors working together, families getting to meet each other, and our whole city being one place.
Absolutely.
Seth Poole writes in, I want to work for John. Seth, I think a lot of us are going to be working for John before we're done with it. What about Anissa? Tell me, hi, Anissa. I'm going to ask you to get that microphone real close to you. Good job. Anissa, how old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
And are you going to be part of the Healthy Kids Club?
Yes, I am.
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to help students learn about, I'm going to do a class and help students learn about the 8 laws of health and, and have fun.
What are some of those 8 laws of health?
Oh, who knows those? Okay. What's the acronym for it, John?
The acronym is Start Now.
What does an acronym mean, John?
An acronym is a short way to remember something.
By using the first letters?
Yes.
Way to go, man.
Tell
I'm with Seth Poole. I'm going to go work for John. So, John, what are some of those 8 rules?
It's sunshine, temperance, activity meaning exercise. There's rest, there's trust in God, there's nutrition and oxygen, and then water. Start now.
Well, John, you're an intense guy. Very impressive kid. So, Anissa, where do you go to school?
Laurel Oaks.
Where is that?
It's in Hamden, but it's a private school.
How is it? What do you like going to school there?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
I'm learning about like math and reading. So like this teacher's helping me, and like I'm having fun at PE. Yeah.
And tell me, you said you like to read?
Yeah.
Tell me something you read that you like.
Um.
You read a book you like, or an article, or a story?
I like to read about teachers.
Why is that?
Because, like, when I look, like, I help this lady, Miss Sheets, that works at Miss Kim, and she's like a toddler classroom, and like every day I go and ask her, can I help her? And like I'm like really good with kids, and I love them, and that's why I want to be a teacher when I grow up.
That's very sweet. So you help out at Miss Kim's preschool.
Yes.
What's some of the stuff you do with the kids?
I go outside. I rub their backs when it's time to go to sleep. I eat with them at lunch, and yeah. And then when they're like asleep, I go downstairs, help, and then I wait till like 3 o'clock, and then I go back upstairs and help and go in the back and play with them.
That sounds great. Have you had a teacher? You said you want to be a teacher. My daughter's a teacher, and she had some very special teachers when she was growing up in New Haven that helped her want to be a teacher. Who's been a special teacher for you?
Lincoln Bassett. This teacher named Miss Amanda Chasen, and I love her so much because when I was in second grade, she helped me through like the whole entire year, and I was only there for like 1 year. So.
And what did she help you with? What do you remember about Miss Jason?
Well, every time when it was field trips, I always not go to sleep sometimes at home. So like I lay on her shoulder and lay down, take a nap, and then like when I wake up, we start taking pictures, like just having fun.
So she was paying attention to you, and so what you needed, so you can learn. That sounds great. Now, Spirit, how old are you, sweetie?
I'm 7.
Okay, what I'm going to ask you to do, Spirit, is get so close to that microphone. How did you get involved with these folks, with these other kids for this summer?
We talked about on downstairs. We talked about like the Healthy Kids Club.
And is there something you do that helps you be healthy?
I shop for healthy food.
So you're shopping at 7 years old. Do you help your mom or dad go to the store?
Yes.
What do you look for when you're shopping? What's a kind of healthy food item you might want to make sure to get or that you like to eat?
Like nutrients.
Is there like
fruit and stuff?
What's your favorite fruit? What's your favorite fruit or vegetable?
My favorite vegetable is asparagus.
Oh, me too. I love asparagus.
And my favorite fruit is apples.
Apples and asparagus. And if you don't mind, Spirit, it might not be 100% comfortable. I want you to get a little closer to that microphone. So, Spirit, when you eat asparagus, do you ever help cook it?
Yes.
There are a lot of ways to cook asparagus, you know? I always find when I'm eating asparagus, I want to make sure that it's still kind of firm, like in one piece, but it's also kind of juicy. Well, how about you? How do you like to eat asparagus?
I like to eat it when it's juicy.
And so some people will put it in a pan, right? And they'll saute it, right? Some people will put it in an oven and bake it. Some people will put some boiling water under the asparagus and steam it.
That's what my aunt does.
You like to steam it? Yeah, and do you cook it with your aunt?
Yes.
All right. What do you want to be when you grow up, Spirit?
I want to be an OBGYN.
OBGYN. Now, why do you want to be first of all, what is an OBGYN?
Delivering babies.
All right. Now, why do you want to be an OBGYN?
Because I want to see how the babies look when they're first born.
And how about the role you would play? When you think about being an OBGYN, you don't just see the babies. You help the babies come out, right, of their mother's body and be alive. And tell me why that's interesting to you.
Because I like to, like on TV, I see how they come out, and I would like to help. I would like to help.
All right. Well, that sounds like a great thing to do. Would it be possible for you to bring Joshua up to your microphone real close? Can you help him? Because that's a hard microphone. Now, Joshua, I'm guessing, is maybe a little younger than the crowd here. Joshua, how old are you, buddy?
I'm 5 years old.
5 years old. Well, it's very nice to have you here, Joshua. And you do give a very good high five, I will say, before we start the show. Joshua, how did you become part of this?
Because I eat health. I eat fruits and vegetables, and also berries.
Berries. Now, what's your favorite berry?
Strawberry.
Me too. I love strawberries, especially this time of year. When's the last time you had a strawberry?
When we go at school.
Okay. So where do you go to school, buddy?
At Cheshire Academy.
You go all the way to Cheshire? Oh, no. Okay. You get a little...
That's Christian Academy.
Okay, and where is that?
That's in Cheshire, Connecticut.
Okay.
Hamden.
Hamden, okay. Well, you kids get around. It's okay, Joshua. When you're 5 years old, I think just being on the radio, you get a lot of props for that. You don't have to be perfect with every answer right away. So, Joshua, what is the most fun thing for you to do?
Play with John and run around and get some exercise and grow up and be a truck driver and a doctor.
So you're going to be a truck driver and a doctor, but you're also going to make sure you get to run around, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think our future's in really good hands here, Kim Harris.
That's right.
So here you got 4 kids, Kim, either living in or hanging out in New Hallville.
That's right.
And they're going to be helping you spend 60 days starting June 28th.
That's right.
Keeping people busy. They're keeping their peers busy. Who are the grown-ups who are going to hang out with them for this club?
So Anissa and Spirit, they're a part of our Kids TV summer camp. So they'll be hanging out with us, and Miss Kim will be around. Kimberly will be around as well. And my teachers, have 2 teachers that will be helping the older group along with myself. So when we talk about the Healthy Kids Club that they're doing, yes, it's about health and wellness for children, but it's also an opportunity for them to share their talents and skills, which is a great leeway for the sisters. I call them my sister act because whatever it is that the kids have and love to do, we really try to cultivate that. So these sisters are singers, and they brought a couple tunes for you today.
I want to hear them before, because there's not much time left. I want to hear them.
Okay.
But, Kim, one thing I want to notice.
Yes.
Tell me if this is true.
Mm-hmm.
As you've been organizing one city, the greatest organizing effort we've seen in years in New Haven, all the management teams in New Haven coming together this summer to organize 60 days of events at each of their neighborhoods and inviting everybody into each other neighborhood to take part. You're getting them young and old.
Absolutely.
And in between. And right now you're going to have Spirit and Anissa sing us a song. What are you going to sing us, girls?
Which one do you want to do, girls?
We're going to do the ABC song first.
Oh, we're going to do it with a slur?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we don't have much time. So how much time do we have, Mr. Paul?
We got enough time to go to the end of those songs.
Okay, you ready? So give
Hit
me
it, girls.
The ABC, I guess, with the okay?
Okay.
Rewind and action.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Ooh,
No,
love
me.
that.
No, me. No, me. Me.
Very nice. So, Anissa, do you sing that to the kids when you help Miss Kim at the preschool?
Yeah, I help Miss Sheets sing. I
Miss
help
Sheets, yeah.
Miss Sheets sing. Yeah, but I'm not mostly here in the mornings to help them do like worship, and yeah, I'm not really. But I come like around like
10 o'clock.
Yeah, I come around 10 o'clock.
All right. So, Miss Kim's keeping you busy this summer, Miss Sheets.
Absolutely.
So, one more song. How about Anissa and Spirit? Let us hear something else.
All right, so why don't we do the, because we're coming to the closing, why don't you do the closing song that we just learned?
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. Listen, make sure you pronunciate. And I think it was, no, we won't have time for that. So how about we do the song that we made up for Mr. Paul Bass?
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. You ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Cut. Rewind. Zoop. Name first. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Paul Bass. Paul Bass. Thank you.
Amen.
Whoa. Well, thank you with all my heart, Anissa, Spirit, Joshua, and the man who's going to be, we're all going to be working for one day, John. The coolest kids in New Hallville.
That's right. Absolutely.
Who are going to be showing the way all summer for kids all over town.
Yes.
As part of the Healthy Kids Club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's hear it for the Healthy Kids Club.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's hear it for Kim Harris, chair of the community management team in New Hallville, and the woman who has brought all of it together. So, folks, get ready. June 28th, 4 p.m., Fieldhouse. 4 to 8 p.m. is the kickoff event for a summer of fun for the whole family in New Haven. Every day, 60 days, up to over 720 events already. We're going to get to 800. And these kids we just met today who make us very hopeful for our future are going to help lead the way. And then, here's the website. Ready? OneCityInitiative.org. OneCityInitiative.org. Every day. You don't have to have kids. Because you might go to a concert in the park. You might want to hang out with those cool kids in New Hallville, even if you're kidless. You might want to go be tasting some food or some new businesses. You might want to check out the train station. They're going to show you around with the engineers.
Yay.
There's so much to do this summer every day. And thanks for joining us today on
You're welcome.
You're welcome,
WNHA.
Mr. Paul. You're welcome, Mr. Paul.
Yep.
And I want to thank Yale New Haven Hospital for providing support. We're going to take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free. From the group CD, A Plea for Peace. Now, we know what it's like to be free. We just got to remember to book our flight. Book your flight with us all day and all night long here at WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio.
Hi, this is Steph, and you're listening to WNHH-LP 103.5 FM, broadcasting from New Haven, Connecticut.
In the days of the judges of Israel, widow Naomi, now she did well. She lost one husband and now two sons. Short life of trouble has surely begun. Well, her daughters-in-law were foreign born. Because of that, the priest did scorn them. One was Orpah, one was Ruth. They cared for each other.
Marcando la diferencia en nuestra comunidad latinoamericana tengan su espacio para dialogar en nuestro idioma, entendiendo de la cultura donde nosotros venimos. Esto se trata de los latinos, pero no es nada más para los latinos. Hacerlo bilingüe trae la oportunidad de abrir otros mercados.
Bueno, mi gente, bienvenidos a otro programa más del Bombazo Musical con el Cuñadito, aquí en lavozradiotv.com. Y estamos a través de la WNHH 103.5 FM en New Haven, y también por Facebook en La Voz Hispana CT, y también por la www.lavozradiotv.com. Y te puedes comunicar al teléfono 203-672-5919. Y comenzamos otro programa más del Bombazo Musical con el Cuñadito. Vaya, bienvenidos, buenas tardes. Bueno, entonces primero un saludito por aquí para Elis Ruiz, vaya, que se encuentra en sintonía. También para William Morales, gran Willy Toro, vaya, directamente del pueblo de Patillas. Vaya, y también para Francisco Morning, vaya. Monroy, perdón. Francisco Monroy, que te encuentra en sintonía, que muchas gracias. Saludos. Y hoy le traemos un programa diferente del Cuñadito, vaya. Música en inglés, salsa, merengue, bachata.